With the weather forecast this weekend, we definitely won't be racing. In fact, we won't likely be doing anything outside that takes longer than 45 minutes to an hour. Although I did manage to get my grass cut during one short window of sunshine, but I ended up getting drenched as I finished up along the property line. The kids were busy in the back shop most of the day working on Tommy's short bed Chevy truck. They got a new bolt-together converter this morning, and Tommy was eager to get it installed. Both the boys worked on pulling the 4L80E out and swapping the converter in hopes of getting the truck to build boost and RPM on the trans brake much faster. The new converter definitely seemed to help, and I'm hearing some wild talk about calling me out with my Malibu. So I figured I'd better get the car ready just in case we need to go in town and bust one off. As a precautionary measure, I decided to drive the Malibu down to the test spot and size up my competition. I don't think the kids are ready to set that truck next to my Malibu yet, so I moved on to more important business.
So where are we headed?
Uncle Bob's, the Biscayne's done.
Woohoo!
So he's got a tub full of valve seals, and there's two different size valve seals. There's a 3/8 and 11/32, and somehow one of the bigger ones got into the tub of small ones.
Ooh.
And so when he slid the valve seal on, he said he didn't catch it, that one of them wasn't tight. And they look the same. You can't, like, physically looking at it, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
So he slid one of those valve seals on an intake valve, and unfortunately it was the wrong one. So it had one intake valve that was sucking oil past the valve guide. So it was an easy fix, but
good.
So he's got it all done. I think he went to dinner with his wife or something. It's kind of late in the afternoon. The shop's closed, but I'm trying to sneak this thing home in between raindrops.
Yeah.
Because it's been, you have blue sky for 10 minutes and then it just downpours.
It'll be gorgeous and sunny, and then boom, it looks like a thunderstorm again. So.
I went out and I mowed the yard today. I got my grass cut, and then the last 6 swipes I got drenched.
Yep. Every day this week I have had my hair all curled and go out to run errands and then get drenched, and wet hair when you have hairspray in, just
I've had crunchy head.
Crunchy head, yeah. That's my life this week.
Bob had called me while we were at the test spot to let me know the car is ready. And I definitely want to get the car back as quickly as I can so we can get the Nitrous kit installed. So we're going to be dodging raindrops and monsoon showers to get the car home safely from Bob's machine shop. A torrential rain shower had just subsided when we pulled in, and so we weren't wasting any time to get this car out of the shop and get it back on the road as soon as possible. Right now, we've got a 45-minute drive ahead of us, and the rain showers seem to come and go every 20 minutes. Now, I've never actually driven this car in the rain, and I have no idea whether the wipers work or what kind of condition the wiper blades are in. But as I was pulling out of the machine shop, I realized I'm about to find out, because the water started hitting the windshield before I got up on the pavement. The Biscayne has hideaway wipers, meaning you can't see them from inside the car until you turn them on. I was relieved when they appeared out from underneath the hood with a functional set of blades that weren't scratching the windshield. So although I can clearly see where I'm going, I had to slow down a few knots to keep the car from hydroplaning on the drag radials. As I watched pedestrians cross the street in downtown Granville, I realized that I may have left the window down on my Malibu. So I was thankful when I pulled in the driveway to see that Kenny had put the window up for me while I was gone. The downpour of rain continued until almost 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, guys, it finally quit raining so I could film out here. It poured down rain so hard after we got home that you literally couldn't hear yourself think inside this garage. Huge thank you to everybody who supported this thing. It's over now. It ended at midnight, but we're going to continue to work on the car and get it finished up. We still want to get the Nitrous kit put on. I still want to test it. I just was really hoping to have all that done before the giveaway ended, but it's okay. We couldn't have tested with all this weather anyway, so it is what it is. But, oh my God, it runs good. It runs so good. It's so smooth, and I'm just so impressed with this little engine. Bob did a wonderful job, and Kenny, thank you so much, man. You knocked this thing out of the park, putting this engine back in the car, getting the car all put back together, not one leak anywhere. Just it's turned out so nice. I can't wait to see who wins this thing. I really can't wait to spray it and see what it runs on nitrous. Let me fire this thing up for you guys so you can hear it. And that's cold too. Sounds so good. So it definitely needs a bath now. We drove it home in the rain and it's filthy dirty. We'll get to working on that as soon as we can. I might give it a bath tomorrow, get it cleaned up. We want to go ahead and get the nitrous kit finished. We've gotten started to put it on, but we just need to get that tidied up and finished up. That's going to be a blast. I can't wait to turn that kit on. It looks like we're going to get rained out everywhere this weekend. The kids were going to go to Midnight Madness at KD, but it got moved to next weekend because of the weather. And I think this whole weekend is basically going to be a washout. So I want to spend a little bit of time working on this weekend. I want to try and get the nitrous kit finished up. Kenny's probably going to be off this weekend. I don't think he's going to be back. I could be wrong, but his dad's in the hospital and he's not doing very well. And I've been checking in with Kenny a little bit today just to see how his dad's doing and wish him well. I hope things get better for him. But so Kenny will probably be out for a few days. I'm not sure. Just depends on what's going on down there. But so I'll probably just work on this myself a little bit over the weekend, and I want to work on my Malibu a little bit. I want to start getting it ready for streetcar bragging rights. That's in a week and a half. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's in Rockingham, North Carolina. We're going to be taking a whole bunch of stuff down there for that. I think Tommy's entered in the index class with his truck. I'm in the index class, and they had some openings in the overdrive shootout. And even though my car is not fast enough to really compete in that, I went ahead and told him I'd enter it anyway. It'll be fun. I need to get some fuel for the Malibu, some good E85, because if I'm going to be in that shootout, then that'll be turning both kits on. And I need to make sure that it's got good fuel in the fuel tank. I need to get stocked up on nitrous. I need to get stocked up on a little bit of race fuel for the standalone tank, and I need to get the trailer and the trucks and, you know, all that stuff ready. But should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
So this brings us to Saturday. I needed to make a trip into Jegs first thing to fill the bottle for Bisquick and pick up a few parts we needed to finish the nitrous kit installation. Monsoon season here in central Ohio continues, and traffic was backed up everywhere due to accidents on my way to Columbus to see Uncle Terry.
So it looks like Allison had a good time driving Malibu the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
After she got that first pass out of the way.
Yep. So you take a little ride in Tommy's truck.
Yeah. That thing runs pretty good.
I'm telling you. That was great.
I'm really impressed with how well that truck runs and drives. Like the drivability on it is far better than anything I've ever ridden in that was fuel injected.
I mean, his first test drive was 800 miles. I mean, that's the way you got to look at it, because he never drove anything before you all went down to 600.
Right, right.
And then he drove it 800 and whatever miles on that deal.
Well, they've continued to get it better since then. But
yeah, I know they put a boost controller and all that stuff on it now. So yeah.
Oh yeah, he's getting ready for me. That's what this is all about.
Since this is a brand new bottle that's never been filled, Terry needed to chill it to fill it.
Snowing.
So that's a brand new bottle, and you chill them once they get about 3/4 full.
Yeah.
So that they'll fill completely.
They'll fill completely up, because it got really hot. Now it's getting really cold.
New bottleitis, you called it.
Bottleitis, that's what I call it. Yeah.
Once we had the bottle topped off, I figured it'd be cool to have Terry autograph it.
Will you do me the honors?
I will. I appreciate that.
I'll sign it too.
Excellent. It'd be great. Uncle Terry.
Uncle Terry. Is this the first time you've had to sign something?
No, actually.
With Bisquick's bottle topped off and autographed, it was time to head out to the showroom to pay my bill and pick up all the parts we need to finish the nitrous kit.
Well, hopefully all this will get us a pretty good jump start. If not, I'll be back tomorrow.
I'll be here tomorrow.
I jumped in the truck and started making my way back to the shop, plotting out my plan of attack to film myself while I work on the car. But to my surprise, when I pulled in the driveway, Kenny's truck's parked out front. He's already been working on the Biscayne and was waiting on parts when I pulled in.
You're back. I didn't think you'd be here today. All right.
Kenny helped me unload all the stuff I brought home from Jegs, and we worked on the car until we realized the wide open throttle switch that came with the kit won't work in our application. But we managed to get everything else done that we could for the time being.
What do you think, Kenny Powers?
She's getting there.
We're pretty well caught up on this until we get a wide open throttle switch.
Yeah.
You've got the
wiring.
Yeah, a little bit of wiring. You've got the nitrous line and the fuel line run from the back all the way to the front. The standalone's mounted in the trunk. The bottle's mounted in the trunk.
Yeah, pretty much everything's done.
Yeah.
A little bit of wiring.
A little bit of wiring. So maybe we'll work on that tomorrow. But it's looking really nice. You've done a really nice job, Kenny. Really nice job.
It's a nice car, so.
It is a very nice car. So we've just about hit a stopping point for today on the Biscayne. The last thing we need to do is flush the fuel lines for the standalone kit. We need to wire up the wide open throttle switch and wire up the solenoids and put the arming switch in the car, but the switch that came with the kit requires you to drill a hole in the dash or drill a hole in something, and I'm not drilling a hole in the dash of this car. So I need to figure out some switch mount. I need to either make one or go buy a switch mount to mount the arming switch for the nitrous under the dash. Kenny's got the fuel line and the nitrous line run from the trunk all the way to the front. They're attached. They're done. The bottle is mounted in the trunk. The standalone kit is mounted in the trunk. I need to go get some fuel, put in the standalone, and flush that line out. Anytime you make new fuel lines, new braided lines, always flush the lines out, because there's always some crud or some material from cutting those lines that will plug or damage the fuel and the nitrous solenoid. So in this case, it's the fuel solenoid, but very important to always flush those lines. You don't ever want to forget to do that. But for right now, it looks like we're probably just going to roll this thing out and bring my Malibu back in, start working on it and getting it ready to take the streetcar bragging rights. Snappy, isn't it?
Yeah.
God, that thing sounds good.
As many of you know, I've been fighting issues with my Malibu's nitrous system for a long time. It started out with bad wiring and direct shorts and blown fuses, but even after fixing all that and installing a new progressor, I'm still having trouble. With all that said, I've decided to take a step back and put a controller in it that I'm much more familiar with, one that I've had in the car before and doesn't require a laptop to operate.
All right, guys, it's Sunday morning. I'm out here working on this thing, and I think Kenny and I may have found a smoking gun last night. This car has always had a Max 6 or Max 5 nitrous progressor box in it. Prior to that, it had an NOS Mini in it. Now, I'm very familiar with an NOS Mini. I've used them for years. That's what we used in Billy's S10 when it was on nitrous. That's what we used in Tommy's S10 when it was on nitrous. That's what's still in Allison's Dart. It's just a very simple, inexpensive controller that's very easy to use, and I'm not very smart, so I like simple things. We switched out the Max 6 box last night for a brand new NOS Mini. We hooked it all up, and everything works perfectly fine. In fact, everything worked perfectly fine on the Max 6 as long as the engine wasn't running. We fired the engine up last night just to check the tach signal, because the NOS Mini has a tach readout on the little handheld screen, and the tach signal is all over the place. It's not good. Now, the tach up on the dash is fine, but the tach on the nitrous controller is either zero or it's just wild. It's a digital readout, and it's just all over the place. I think what I'm fighting is some kind of interference from the ignition box. This car used to have the ignition box out on the inner fender, and I moved it underneath the dash to inside the car because every time I went to the car wash, I was having trouble with it, getting water in the ignition box and ruining the box.
So I moved it inside, and looking back, I don't remember ever having the progressor work properly since we moved it inside the car, since we moved the ignition box in. So, you know, the Max 6 does have a tax signal, and I never remember seeing an issue with the tax signal when it had the Max 6 in it or the Max 5. The readout, the tax signal readout always seemed to be okay from what I can remember when I had the opportunity to look at it. But on this little NOS Mini, it's not good. So I think what we're having trouble with is some kind of interference with the ignition box under the dash in close proximity to the nitrous controller. So what I did was I went in the NOS Mini and I basically just set minimum RPM to 0 and max to 15,000, where it has no control over anything. It shouldn't have any control over anything. So the plan is today we're going to take this car into John Moore's shop, Moore Speed in Columbus, Ohio, and we're going to put it on the dyno and we're going to turn the kits on. Now, I just went through checking the ignition timing to make sure that it pulls the correct amount of timing on each stage. It does. And I'm pumping the fuel out of it right now because it's on winter blend E85, which is like E72 according to my monitor. I've got a fuel monitor inside the car that tells you the ethanol content. And so you can get by with that on a turbo application, but you cannot get by with it on a nitrous application spraying as much as I spray to this thing when I turn both kits on. It's 350 horsepower with both kits turned on the way it's jetted right now. And the pump E85 has pump gas mixed in it to help light it. That's the whole, well, it's one of the reasons behind putting gasoline in ethanol. One, you can't drink it because you get poison. That's a big deal. And two, the pump gas helps light the ethanol. The problem is that pump gas in a nitrous application, once it reaches a certain cylinder pressure and a certain temperature, that hydrocarbon component in the ethanol, mixed in the ethanol, will pre-ignite. Once that happens, you have no control over your timing anymore. And I've burned up a couple of engines. I used to mix my own E85. I would get as pure of ethanol as I could get and then mix race gas in it. And I would blend it down to about E80, E85 from E98. But the hydrocarbon in it was race gas, like 117 octane race gas. And as long as I did that, I could lean on Tommy's to S10 on both kits, and I never had a problem. But as soon as I turned both stages nitrous on pump E85, it would nip a head gasket or it would pinch a ringland every time. All I know is I pumped the E85 out of this thing, and I'm going to put a little bit in it just so we can load it in the trailer and take it to Columbus. And then John Moore's got some really good E85 in there I'll put in it to make our dyno pulls.
I had called John Moore last night. He told me he could meet me at his shop in Columbus at noon. When I told the kids my plans, Tommy decided he'd like to take his Chevy pickup truck in and dyno it too. So we loaded up his truck and my car in the double enclosed, and then me, Billy, Tommy, and Allison jumped in the truck and started making our way towards More Speed Performance. Although the weather was beautiful when we left the house, our uncertainty about Mother Nature and bringing my car as well as Tommy's truck home in one piece brought us to the decision that we would be better off using the trailer to get the cars there and back.
And we're here to have a good time. No, we got rained out on our Edgewater rally.
I know, man. Everything got rained out.
So guess what? We got something better to do with our time. Let's down on some cars.
What do you got on here right now?
This is a GT500. We've done a little modification too, a little smaller supercharger pulley, some headers,
Yeah.
a couple of things here and there. Still very color scheme. Love the color. It's
What did it make?
right around 800. I think
Really?
64 is what it made.
Yee.
This color is called Tiffany Blue. It's beautiful. I love it.
It is a nice looking car. All right, well, let's roll this beautiful Mustang off and Grandpa Tan Malibu on.
As John backed the Shelby off the rollers, it seemed almost silly to bring an old Malibu in with a carburetor and tie it down on the dyno. Everything about my car seems antiquated compared to the stuff that typically comes in this shop. As I opened the hood on the Malibu, I could hear the kids were starting to make some fun of me and my old small block Chevy with a carburetor.
So as long as you make more horsepower than the Malibu today, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter if you make 8,000-9,000, as long as it's a little bit more than the Malibu. This thing should make 900,000.
What should?
Your car.
Not to the tire. To the crank, maybe. It might get close at the crank with both kits on, but it ain't gonna make that to the tire. I had made a last-minute jet change to the carburetor this morning before I left the house. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out how to use my new air fuel monitor, but the dyno has an O2 sensor that we can stick in the muffler. We let the Malibu warm up with the bottle heater turned on in the trunk to warm up the bottle as well. I told Billy that I wanted to make 2 back-to-back naturally aspirated pulls first to clean up the plugs. The engine broke up just a little bit towards the end of the first pull, but I figured the second one should be a little bit better once the plugs are cleaned up. The air fuel monitor on the dyno showed that the engine was lean, a problem we would have to deal with before we turn on the nitrous. All right, I ran home and got my jet kit and put the jets back in the carburetor the way they were before I messed with it earlier today. I wish I would not have done that. So we're gonna make one pull on motor to see how it runs on the good E85 with the jets that should be in it, I think should be in it. And then we'll turn the first kit on. If that goes well, we'll turn both kits on and hopefully we get to go home in one piece. The Malibu made 470 and 475 horsepower on the first and second pull. The air fuel showed 13.5 to 13.9, and then after the jet change, I managed to get it down to about 12.6. However, the horsepower remained unchanged at about 476 horsepower to the rear wheels on motor. So now it's finally time to see if this nitrous kit's gonna work when I put this thing at wide open throttle. On the first stage of the kit, on the 150 horsepower jet, the car picked up over 200 horsepower to the rear wheels.
And there's 200 left in the back kit.
Due to some other problems that we incurred during our dyno session with Tommy's truck, we only had time for one final pull on the Malibu. Billy knew as soon as the second stage come on that the car wasn't happy and he let off the throttle. At first I thought maybe it hit the rev limiter, but looking back, it sounds like it doesn't have enough timing in it.
Okay, it's time to go home before we tear something up. Sorry, before I tear something up. It just wasn't happy. Shot orange flames out the exhaust. That's pretty typical for not having enough timing in it. So we didn't hurt anything, but I don't want to hurt anything either. I didn't bring plugs with me today. This wasn't a day to try to set the world on fire or rotate the earth with it. I just wanted to make sure that both the kits work, and they definitely do, but it's definitely not happy right now with both kits turned on. So that's where we're at. I think it just needs more timing put in it. Like I've got a lot of timing taken out of each stage, 5 in the first stage and 10 in the second. So it's just too much timing out of it. We're out of time. John, I'm sure, would like to get home. We've tortured him today, kind of tortured ourselves. I say we go home and plan dinner.
I'd like a dry shirt.
Yeah, that sounds good too. Probably some dry shoes too. You're
Yeah.
probably squishing around.
A little bit of transmission fluid and rain,
Yeah.
a little bit of everything. So
So rough day at the dyno. Rough day at the dyno. Much rougher on you, but I
Could
think
have
it's
been a
time.
worse day at the track.
Huh?
It could have been a worse day at the track.
Oh, it could have been a much worse day at the track. It could have been a much worse day at the track. I think that I'll probably take some jet out of the second kit. Like I've turned them both on before, and I mean, it's rowdy. It is rowdy. But I don't think it needs to be on that much. It made 747 right there shooting ducks.
yeah,
Like,
I think it made 770 that time down in North Carolina when I was
I didn't
really.
even get to really see what it was gonna make.
Yeah. It's lively. I'll bet it'll make 800 to the wheels. If it was tuned right, and to tune it right, I need like an entire day or two of little increments and a whole bunch of spark plugs. That's just all there is to it.
How hard is it to do spark plugs on this thing?
It's not too bad.
Not bad.
No, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today. We're going to unstrap the car, take it home. Uncle Terry just texted me. He dropped off some parts for the Biscayne at home. So hopefully tomorrow we can get back on the Biscayne and get the nitrous kit finished up on it. And I need to go through some things on this car. I had the timing set to pull 5 degrees out of the little kit and 10 out of the big one. And I was doing that when I would run one or the other, not both. And I had that much timing pulled out of it so that if I'm on winter blend or just junky E85, I can go street race it and use one kit or the other, and it's safe. But obviously when you turn both of them on at the same time, pulling that much timing, it's not happy. I didn't realize it, but that ethanol that John sold me today is 117 octane, and there's 117 octane fuel factory in the standalone. So you put those two together, and you just you got to have some timing in it, especially 23 degree small block Chevy. You just got to have some timing in them. Typically when they're shooting orange flames out the back, they don't have enough timing in them, and I'd say that's probably the case. So we didn't tear anything up, at least I didn't, and we're going home in one piece. And I've got some improvements that I can make before I go down to North Carolina. But I think we're getting a little closer. At least my nitrous kit works now. I know the damn shit's coming on. All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm out here in the shop finishing up this video tonight. We've already begun filming the next video. I should have it up in a day or so. It's going to be pretty good. Unfortunately, while we were at more speed, Tommy's dyno session did not go very well. He had a catastrophic failure, parts failure, and it's going to be a little bit before Tommy can recover and get the truck back running. I'm very thankful that what happened on the dyno and not on the track. It could have been a devastating loss had it occurred at the track. We'll just leave it at that. Tommy's got a video coming up. You'll see the carnage of what happened. And I'm sure Tommy will probably go through and explain why it happened. We have done a forensic investigation. And I think we've come to the conclusion that we have discovered the error of our ways. So be watching on Tommy and Allison's channel, Gen 2 Garage, for that part of the dyno session. I don't want to ruin it or anything like that. I mean, Tommy's already put some pictures up on Facebook. But you'll get to see it. It was a bad day on the dyno for Tommy. The Malibu, I think once we make a couple little changes, is going to be A-okay. I believe that I am suffering from a little bit of EMI or some kind of interference from the ignition box into the nitrous controller. Now, is this the reason why the last two controllers didn't want to work right? I'm pretty sure. I think so. Now, I couldn't tell the last two controllers. I felt like it would work one time and then not the next, but most of the time it would not work. But I had no idea that we may have some kind of electronic interference. The other controllers never showed any sign of that. Now, in my past experience with NOS Minis, they are very susceptible to RF interference or EMI. Very susceptible. In fact, I had a lot of trouble with Billy's truck when we first started using NOS Minis. I had to change the shielded plug wires, and we had to move the controller, and We had a lot of trouble with that. But with that said, had I not put an NOS Mini in the car, I might not have ever realized that we have an issue like what I think we have. I've picked up a noise filter to install in the car. We'll show that probably in the next video. If you've got any insight as to what I should be doing, because I'll be honest with you, I don't really understand the noise filter thing. I picked one up. I haven't put it in the car yet. I haven't had time, but if you've had any experience with something like this, I did check the tack wire with a ohm meter and with a voltmeter and checked it, and the voltage is steady as far as that goes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the signal is clean. Is it possible that I've got a problem with my NOS Mini controller? It is possible. Is it possible that two NX controllers and the Mini have problems? No, I don't think so. No. So I really think that the two NX controllers were suffering from the same problem. It's just I didn't realize it, and they didn't show any signs of it. So I don't know. We're making progress, though. Both the nitrous kits work. I think what I'd like to do is, I don't think I'm going to have time, but what I would like to do is take the car back in and do a little bit of dyno testing with it and add timing and sneak up on the tune-up with the ignition timing and read the plugs and do it right. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to have time to do that, but I know where my tune-up was previously. I know how much timing I pulled out previously, and I didn't have any problems back then. So we'll see. This weather, it's raining again now. It's rained every day, and it's still forecasted to rain for 2 or 3 more days. So it's been difficult to do any testing or take the car to the track or even take it out on the street and blast it. Like, you just can't. It's raining every day. So we're going to get to it. We're going to get the car straightened up. But I'm really excited to take it to Rockingham, and I've entered it in the No Time Overdrive Shootout. It's an 1/8 mile shootout for cars with overdrive. Will my car be competitive in it? Probably not. Will my car go A to B? Probably yes. Will my car make consecutive passes and get faster each time? There's a good chance of that, but there's also a good chance I could get knocked off first round too. But it's okay, because after, how should I say this? After the last several events that we've attended, it would just be really nice if we could go to a well-run event where we have a good time and we're enjoying ourselves. Let's just say that. So I'm really looking forward to it. Nate Prater does an awesome job promoting. It looks to me like he's probably one of the best I've ever seen at promoting heads-up drag races. Without question. He's put so much effort in. He and his team are doing an incredible job, and I really look forward to racing with him. So I'm going to hop off here for tonight, guys. I appreciate everybody watching, liking, sharing, subscribing. Please, if you're not subscribed, consider it. I'd appreciate it. We're getting back on track here. The Biscayne's almost done. We've just about got the nitrous kit finished up on that. You'll see that in the next video. And hopefully in the next video, you'll get to see me take this thing up the road and blast it on the kit. Good night, everybody.